Right, I'll let you know. I'll just call you
Yeah,
and set it up.
the only thing I know of is there's a Let's Talk Schools tomorrow.
I'll be there.
So if you want to do it before, just do it after, because I'm at the setup.
Okay.
So if you want to do it after
That would be great.
fine.
It won't take long. I'm a quick study. I just need a little help.
That'll be fine.
Thank you.
No problem.
Up there, you can drive in snow, you can't drive at night.
You all right?
Sorry.
What about Bonnie? All right, man.
I'd like to call this meeting of the Williamson County Board of Education on February 23rd, 2015, 6:35 p.m. to order. If all board members would now acknowledge your presence. Thank you. We will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. It will be led by Mr. Galbraith, followed by a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. To begin with, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of our deputies and thank them for their service. Deputy Guy Whitley and Deputy Ron Hooper. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with us this evening. And I'd also like to welcome the Williamson County Chamber of Commerce is here. and I'd like to acknowledge their presence. Thank you for attending. It's great to see you guys. We will begin with the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion? Move to approve. Mr. Hollett. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Wimberly. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. In approving the agenda, you approve the following consent agenda items. Approval of school board meeting minutes, January 20th, 2015. Approval of recommendations for field trip fee requests. Approval of additional high school AP exam fee, 2014-2015. Approval of Church of the City Incorporated at Centennial High School. The approval of Page High School sign. Approval of the Ravenwood High School baseball windscreen and fence. And the approval of Ravenwood High School soccer field windscreen for fence. Next, we will move on to our public interest, public comment time. We have a number of speakers. We'd like to address the board, 18 speakers. We will therefore need to confine our comments to 1.5 minutes in order to stay within the policy of 30 minutes public comment time. Therefore, if you will please revise your comments in order to obtain them all in 1 minute and 30 seconds, that would be great. And I will try to help you in that in reminding you when you have 30 seconds left. I would also like to remind the audience that this time of public comment is our opportunity to hear from you, and we would enjoy constructive criticism. However, we will not tolerate any slanderous remarks directed at any individual person, whether it's a board member or a district employee, and you will not be allowed to speak any slanderous remarks. I just wanted to remind the public of that. Otherwise, we welcome your comments and we welcome your constructive criticisms. Our first speaker is Audrey Buffington.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Dr. Loony. I'm Audrey Buffington, 430 Lena Lane, Franklin, Tennessee. It's going to be tough to cut my 30 minutes down to 1.5 minutes, but I'll do my best. That means I have to cut out jokes about. So I will get right to the point to thank members of the board and members of the community who asked if I would be willing to serve on the textbook adoption committee or the review committee. I appreciate their confidence in me. Unfortunately, as most of you know, they're just teachers and parents who were able to serve on that committee. But Jackie Stewart and Carla Richards were kind enough to invite me to the Development Center so that I could look at the programs and so that I could meet with the publishers when they came to make their presentations. And I appreciate that. I'm sorry that there were not higher ed people on the committee. I'm also sorry that there were not students on there, because they have to like their textbooks. If they look in them and see the comic books pages and little open-ended and soft cover things like second graders where they're consumable, they're not going to be happy campers, I think. I did review and I attended some of the presentations, but what I'm here tonight to do is to ask you to please delay the adoption of the program, and here are 7 reasons why. Number 1, as you know, before the legislature, there are bills now pending. We don't know whether the Common Core standards are going to be repealed or just amended. In either case, we don't want to buy books that are going to be focused just on the standards as they exist right now. In addition to that, the governor's website. Oh, mercy. I went on that for 3 afternoons and evenings, and it's a challenge.
Audrey, you have 30 seconds left.
Excuse me?
30 seconds left, ma'am.
Okay. And I must be the only one in the whole state who found out that there were ones that were missing, and there was no place to include those. And so I have gone up the ranks to the Commissioner of Education. Nobody knows what to do with those that are not included on there. There are some significant changes that are going to be happening in our high school math, says our David Williams, our coordinator of math content. The curriculum will be changing. Now, curriculum used to mean the methods or the pedagogy or the way you're going to teach it, and that has been kind of hijacked. The standards do not specify any special way that they are to be taught. It specifically says that the teachers it's up to them to decide how these things are to be taught. And we have a lot of money that will be spent on textbooks and professional development, since textbooks can't be returned like those things you buy on TV. I'm really sorry, but I will be back next time to talk more about it and all about the federal.
Thank you. I
legislation.
apologize that you don't have more time. Thank you, Ms. Buffington.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Roger Abramson.
Dr. Loony, members of the board, move this microphone. My two sons, I'm a single dad, asked me where I was going. I said I was going to speak to the superintendent and the school board, and they said, that's fine, just don't mention our names. And this is Benjamin, and this is Thomas. They attend Crockett Elementary and Woodland Middle. I just want to say I'm a Nashville native, grew up in metro schools, and I moved over here 7.5 years ago when my sons became school age, and I moved over here because of the schools. And when they moved here 7.5 years ago, they were terrific, and they've gotten even better, amazingly enough. I didn't think that was possible. I know there's some folks out there in the hinterlands who have some issues with the administration. One of them has a rather crass website that says dump Loony, like he's a college football coach. Well, I would suggest if he's a college football coach, he's a lot more Nick Saban, not Derek Dooley. And I would hope that folks stand up for him. I've talked to teachers, staff, students, my kids. They love him. I've seen this system grow in ways that I can't even imagine. It's like taking an amazing luxury car.
You have
and
30
making it
seconds,
even
Mr.
better.
Abramson.
Thank you, sir. And I want to say I appreciate the opinions of those who don't have kids in schools. That's great. You're a resident of Williamson County. You should be able to speak about the schools. What I won't tolerate very much is the idea that those who do not have the kids, who do not choose to put their kids in our schools, somehow know more about what's going on in them than those of us who do. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abramson. Next speaker is Crystal Freeman. And if I'd also please ask you to state your name and your address.
Hi, I'm Crystal Freeman. I live at 2997 Buckner Lane in Spring Hill, District 2. I have two young girls in Williamson County Schools. A couple weeks ago, my 8-year-old daughter asked if she could create a PowerPoint presentation on my computer for fun. Once she did, she showed it to me, and she had created a presentation about all the wonderful things she wanted to say about her teachers. And one of her remarks really touched me. Here's what she wrote. Miss Bridget is my gifted teacher. She's pretty and nice and fun to work with. She taught me decibels, long division, and more. When I was young, I would get bored really quickly in class when they had to review over and over again for the other kids. In August of 2014, it all changed. Miss Bridget was our new full-time gifted teacher. She practices with us, with our group, until everyone in the room gets what we are doing. She is awesome. That's the kind of thing I want you as a board to focus on. Making sure that the resources are in place for my daughter to get up and want to go to school every day. That's what I need you to focus on. I just want to say Barb Sturgeon brought a weapon to school property.
30 seconds, please.
She deserved to be banned, period. Anyone who brings a weapon onto school property should be banned. The fact that there are school board members who do not 100% support Dr. Loony in that decision is ridiculous to me. And I just want to let everyone know that the parents of Williamson County are not going to go away. Thank you.
Thank you. Shelly Shifflett. Ms. Shelly Shifflett.
Hi, I'm Shelly Shifflett. I'm at 526 Ardenwood Place in Brentwood and a supportive constituent of District 7. I'd like to start this board meeting and talking about some good things, good news and good ideas to think about. While we very much know there's a separation of religion and schools as our founding fathers designated for this great country, I know religion is important to many of you. So I hope it's okay for me to share some words of wisdom from Pope Francis. He writes, whenever our interior life becomes caught up in its own interests and concerns, there's no longer room for others, no place for the poor. God's voice is no longer heard, the quiet joy of his love is no longer felt, and the desire to do good fades. He then states that during Lent, we abstain from indifference, stop not caring about one another, and not caring about the greater good for our society. So I ask each board member, first, is your interior life becoming caught up in its own interests and concerns? By this, I mean, he believes, is your interior life, what goes on in your head, reality? And are your interests and concerns really realistic, or are they unfounded and political?
30 seconds.
Second, is your desire to do good fading? What good are you doing on the board? What are the tangible, tax-smart, useful, positive things you've done for our 35,000 students? And please note, tearing down each other, the school system, the superintendent, our teachers is not considered good, per Pope Francis, and I asked him that. Are you making room for others? Are you listening and adjusting your message based on every single constituent? You need to make time to hear them and incorporate them into your representation of your district. And if you claim to have exceptional public education and you put God first, then you will do what's right for the public good. You'll support the superintendent, you will pray for each other, and you will pray for the teachers and students. Do what is right, do what is good, and do what is positive.
Thank you, Ms. Shifflett. Our next speaker is Christy James.
Hi, I'm Christy James. I live at 514 Shenandoah Drive. I'm a parent of 2 children in Williamson County Schools, and I'm a proud graduate of Brentwood High School and the daughter of a 28-year veteran educator in the Williamson County Schools. In light of the recent petition against Dr. Loony, I would like to thank the 10 board members who came out in clear support of Dr. Loony last week. Mr. Anderson, Dr. Bartholomew, Dr. Burgos, Mr. Cash, Mr. Galbraith, Mr. Gregory, Mr. Hullett, Mr. Becerra, Mr. Peterson, and Mr. Wimberly. An overwhelming majority of those of us who have children in Williamson County Public Schools greatly support Dr. Loony and the success he has brought to our school district. We appreciate those of you who demonstrated last week that you support our superintendent and our school district and thereby support our children. We appreciate you staying focused on what matters, which is our children. Anything else is merely a distraction from students who should be the center of our attention. We appreciate you listening to the members of this community and fulfilling the promises you made when you were elected to look out for the best interests of our children. These distractions and witch hunts are most definitely not in the best interest of our children. In fact, they are hurting the very school district in which we entrust with our children every day. I am ready for this board to get back to what matters and to not engage in this petty activity. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Patty Norm.
Thank you. My name is Patty Norm. I live at 1417 Governor's Ridge Court. I'm a teacher in Williamson County. I teach middle school math. And I can't pretend to speak for the other teachers, but I'm going to speak on the experiences that I've had. I'm a liaison for my school, so I was lucky enough to get to go to 9 publisher meetings. Oh my gosh. So I just wanted to speak about the number of hours that as a liaison I have spent, the number of hours the parents have spent, the number of hours all the other math teachers in my building have spent, because fortunately at my school, we all have enough time in our system that we all get to vote. They're spending hours before school, they're spending hours after school, they're spending hours during their planning meetings. They're giving up so many hours of their time. Central office has done a great job of coordinating the meetings. I have books at my school, thank goodness, that my parents can come look at. I'm concerned that you won't adopt a textbook. Many of them, the publishers are willing to sign a statement saying that they will change. They know our standards are changing. I spend hours creating lesson plans for my kids, hours, because my textbook is not rigorous enough, and I want more. And my students, our students deserve more. So I'm asking you to consider all the hours the teachers and parents have donated to looking at these books when you vote on adopting our new textbooks. We need new textbooks. We need books that are more rigorous and books that more completely meet my needs. As a teacher, if I don't have to spend hours finding additional resources, then I can spend more time creating better lesson plans. As I said, many of the books are consumable, and the publishers have committed to changing because they know our standards are changing. So I'm asking that you not only adopt new textbooks, but purchase them for us and for the students. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Elliott Wood.
Hi, I'm Elliott Wood. I live at 1003
Whaley Court. I've been a resident of Williamson County since 1998. I'd like to thank the board and for the opportunity to speak to you briefly. As you're probably aware, I'm here to speak in support of Dr. Loony. I must confess that until this last election, I had not taken our school board and I had taken our school board and school administration for granted. I had not paid much attention to the inner workings of the board. We've been most pleased with the quality of education from our teachers and from our principals at Walnut Grove Elementary and Grassland Middle School, and I assumed that would always be the case. Last summer, when news broke of a concerted effort to remove Dr. Loony and eliminate Common Core, I realized that I needed to familiarize myself more deeply. I was concerned about what I was hearing about Dr. Loony and the Common Core standards. So after much time and effort and reading posts from those for and against Dr. Loony and Common Core and all the rest of the issues,
30 seconds.
I've come to the conclusion that Dr. Loony is a gift to us. He's one of us, and he's for us and our kids, and I've found him to be encouraging of our community and our community values, and while also working to ensure that our schools are a place where students of all faiths and ethnic backgrounds can flourish. So I've got this petition that's a direct response to Dr. Douglas's petition. I've emailed it to you guys this morning. I've got a copy for your minutes or whatever records you need. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Our next speaker, Mindy Tate.
Good evening. My name is Mindy Tate, and I live at 1115 Carton Lane here in Franklin. Hi, Mark Gregory, my school board representative. This is the first time I've ever spoken to the Williamson County Board of Education, although I've watched this board and its workings and its impact on our county for over 30 years. This is not the first time that I've seen this board in conflict or in strife. But I want to remind you that if everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself, and that's what Henry Ford told us. If everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. He also said that coming together is a beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success. There's been strife on this board, but it's time to come together. It's time to support each other. I respect each and every one of you for the time that you give to being a member of this Board of Education, and I respect Dr. Loony for the dedication that he has to our students and to our school system. But it's time to come together, folks. It's time to come together. I am a member of the Rotary Club of Cool Springs, and I want to invite you to support and come together to support the vocational and career and technical students. This Saturday morning, we have our annual community breakfast at Sportsman's Lodge, and you can come and join us there. Please work together. Please be a force for good in our community and be positive, because that's what your constituents and our community expect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Tate. Our next speaker is Shelly Muller. Hope I pronounced your name correctly.
Shelly, and my name is Shelly Muller, and I'm here, and I want to thank Dr. Mike Loony for his strong leadership and commitment to our district.
If you please speak into the mic, I think people could hear you better.
I'm so sorry.
That's quite all right.
Now, does my minute start over?
Yeah, go ahead and start over.
Just kidding. I want to thank Dr. Mike Loony for his strong support and leadership and commitment to our district. And I'm here to tell you that I have 2 children that have been through the school system, and I think that they're better because of Dr. Loony. I think he's made this system better for us, and I serve on a board with him, and I'm in Franklin leadership, and we've studied the whole district, and it's just wonderful, and it's a great place. We came from the north. We've lived here 17 years in Thompson Station, and we're here to stay, and we like it here. And I want to thank the board for supporting him, and I just want to let everybody know that he really is a good guy, and I want to thank you for letting me speak. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mohler. Our next speaker is Dr. Ryan Mohler.
Good evening, esteemed members of the board. I'm Dr. Ryan Mohler, as I previously stated, Thompson Station. I just wanted to let you be aware of some things that happened earlier in my life. Dr. Loony took the time to encourage me as well as guide me He allowed me to see what was really important, and that is education. He told me to pursue education above all else, and I did. And I'm here in front of you, letting you know he was right. Without him, I think our future will be in peril. I ask you to redirect your efforts elsewhere, and I want to thank you for your time and service.
Thank you, Dr. Mohler. Our next speaker is Cindy Scarce? Scarce? Scarce. Sorry about that.
Good evening. My name is Cindy Scarce. I am a 24-year resident of Franklin. I have worked in a variety of capacities, and I have two children. One is a senior at Centennial High School, and one is in the Franklin Special School District and will be a member of the Williamson County School District, I hope, in a few years. All goes well. I'm here tonight because I watched the last board meeting from my home when I was home with my child, and I was surprised at what I saw and what I heard. I have been following the goings-on of the board, and I feel very concerned about the direction of this board. I have been a supporter of Dr. Loony, and the more I learn about him and the more I see him at work, the more sure I am that this is a man who is passionate, competent, innovative, caring.
30 seconds.
And I can't understand why in this great county we continue to have infighting, we continue to have agendas that are politically driven and not about the students of this county. And I am deeply worried as a member of District 12. I feel unrepresented by this board. I am a supporter of Common Core and high standards for our students. I believe that school is for all students, regardless of their religious, ethnic abilities or disabilities. I'm opposed to vouchers. We could just lay it all out on the table tonight.
Ma'am, that's the time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Dr. Loony, for your service to our students.
Thank you, ma'am. Next speaker is Mr. Jason Grant. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Jason Grant, 1626 Oak Hall Drive, Brentwood, Tennessee. Kindergartner is in Ken Rose Elementary School. Mr. Galbraith is my representative on the board. First of all, I would like to say that I will go on record as supporting Dr. Loony. Looking at the achievements over the last 5 years in his service, he should be graded on academic success and expansion, and I think that we all can agree that that has occurred time and time again. One of the things I like about his staff is the fact that they're approachable. There was an issue starting out in terms of discipline. I like my children to go to timeout, and I was instructed that this year there would be a different way to handle behavioral issues. So I contacted central office and was quickly assured that everything would be fine. Subsequently, had the principal call, wonderful principal, and Dr. Webb. And so I'm
30 seconds, sir.
That's fine. I'm actually very, very supportive of Dr. Loony in that respect. Budget items tonight we need to talk about. A little surprised that we got $6 million for Brentwood land. This is one of the areas that I challenged Dr. Loony and his administration to look at in terms of those creative ideas. Could we lease space? We're in a suburban area with a good portion of the county in the urban area. We've got many colleges in this area that have chosen to lease office space. So I'd be encouraged about some of those. Leasing, rotational schedules, Skype and video classes don't necessarily have to be in place. Tuition, that's the other topic. I'm going to cut this short. Mr. Galbraith's point was mixed cost analysis. If the fee that we receive from the state is in fact covering the variable cost, obviously the fixed cost per student does decline, and that variable cost will more than cover that. We can absorb that. However, I think it's very keen on his part to take a neutral stance on this because which districts will be impacted? How open is this going to be? Is this going to be all public service employees of the county? And what about residential employees that are not receiving the same benefit? So it's a very slippery slope. I would hope that you would pass the tuition resolution this evening, but definitely revisit this as a topic in terms of retention. Thank you, and good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. Our next speaker is Ms. Sarah Barnard.
My name is Sarah Barnard. I live on Championship Boulevard in Franklin. Good evening. I'm here tonight to thank Dr. Loony, Dr. Chatham, and the Perry Creek teachers and the bus drivers for quickly evacuating Perry Creek earlier this month after an internet threat was received. The communications with parents was very thorough, and Dr. Loony was there answering all of the questions for the parents who had gathered outside the school. Don't know what kind of logic that was to go to the bomb site. But I did. In what was a very scary situation, Dr. Loony and his staff assuaged the parental concerns very well, and I just want to say we have a great leadership team here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Barnard. Next speaker is Jamie Say.
Okay, I didn't think there would be like on a TV thing, so. I just want to say I'm supportive of Dr. Loony as well, and I'm dismayed, some of the other people. I don't think this board is representing me. I'm in District 10, and I feel dismayed by some of the comments of my own board member. And you got a good thing. You guys don't wreck it. I mean, seriously. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Say. Next speaker is Amy Hudson. Amy Hudson.
Hi, I'm Amy Hudson, and I live at 2615 Matchstick Place in Spring Hill. And I appreciate the opportunity to speak as a parent of a child in the Williamson County Schools and as a graduate of Williamson County Schools. I want to commend the progress that the board has recently made in working together for the benefit of our children. I think there's room for improvement on that, and I'd like to ask that each of you become passionate about working with Dr. Loony and with each other and with the parents of the district. We're here because we care about our children and we love our community. And I'd like to see parent input valued, whether it be by email or by phone. I support the work that Dr. Loony is doing. I believe he's been very effective, and his accomplishments are reflected in the education of my high school senior. We're fortunate to have him, and I believe he should be made to feel valued and appreciated and not feel at risk. Walt Disney once said that the way to get started is to stop talking and start doing. I'd love to see the board focused on actions for our children and for our children's benefit. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Hudson. The next speaker is Christy Coleman.
Thank you. I'm Christy Coleman, 2610 Jake Way, Spring Hill. I wanted to come up here and just take a few minutes to do something that doesn't probably get done enough lately, and that is to thank the board, the entire board, and the administration, because I was present at the last school board work session, which it feels like it was a year ago because of all the snow and being trapped. But I want to thank you because what I saw from pretty much every board member was, it honestly got boring, and that's what we want to see. It's because there wasn't arguing. You know, there was disagreement, and we expect that. We want that. But everyone was very respectful of each other. Everyone got along, and I want to thank you for that and say I really want to see more of that. Of course, the very next day, someone has to make a stink, and it wasn't someone on the board or administration. I am obviously talking about the petitions that have been circulating. And I see them both. I obviously signed the one in support of Dr. Loony. But the first one, you know, both of them are forms of extremism. One is being fueled, the first one being fueled by hate without merit. I personally see it as a temper tantrum. And the other extremism is being the petition is being fueled out of fear. And that fear is because we just feel like some board members may not support us as parents, they may not support the schools, or that they're also blinded by the hate on the other extreme side. I personally would like to see all of that extremism removed from the board, and to kind of really ignore that and keep the focus. So I've had some interaction with some of you by email. And, you know, it was great interaction. It was some of you who I may not agree with 90% of the time, but it was a very respectful interaction. And I want to see that going on more with each other, between us as parents and you as the board members, between you as board members together. So for all those who responded to the onslaught of emails I'm sure you received after that work session, thank you for your reply, regardless of if we agreed. That's what we as parents want, is just two-way communication going on. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Coleman. The next speaker is Heather Anderson.
My name's Heather Anderson. I live at 133 Baker Springs Lane in Spring Hill, District 3. First, does anybody have a folding chair? Because my principal is sitting on the floor back there. And I don't want her to sit on the floor. She works so hard. She's the hardest working principal in Williamson County.
We do have
in my opinion.
chairs over.
But that's just my opinion. I tried to give her my seat, but she wouldn't take it. But I just wanted to come up here to talk. I think a lot of what I feel has already been expressed, but I wanted to share an email that I got 2 years ago from my daughter's teacher in 4th grade, and it was on the Sunday after the Sandy Hook shooting. And I still remember this email, so that's just how this affected me. And I'm going to just shorten it up just because time. Basically, it, just says how shocked she was of what happened. And in the end of the email, she's saying that she knows how hard it is as a parent to fathom what happened, and that she thought at least she wanted all of us parents in her class to know that she loved our children with all her heart, and she promised to care with them with her life. This is what this board should be doing. And I was here at this last board meeting and listened to people saying that they had no problem with somebody bringing a gun on school property. And I just wanted to remind you why the previous school board had these lovely officers come to our schools to protect our children and our teachers. You have a teacher who was Teacher of the Year, by the way, last year, willing to give her life for my child and 20 other students who are not her own children. And it disgusts me
30 seconds.
That anything other than zero tolerance for guns in schools should be accepted, and defending anybody's friend, associate, is disgusting.
Our last speaker. I'd like to call this meeting to order. I'd like to remind our guests in the audience that you are guests, and if you would please conduct yourselves in order and decorum. And when I call this meeting to order, would you please adhere to that? Thank you. Our next speaker is Joellen Schumedel. Thank you. Sorry about that.
I'm sorry, I'm a little bit emotional after hearing that. I live at 5104 Pheasant Run Trail in Brentwood, and my children attend Scales Elementary. I'd like to say that I'm here to support Dr. Loony. I have a graduate and undergraduate degree in education, and I've taught in 5 school districts: urban, rural, suburban, wealthy, poor. I think that gives me the background to know whether or not a superintendent is doing a good job, and I, for one, support you, and I hope that when your contract does finally come to an end, you know that there are a lot of people who appreciate what you do and don't let the naysayers influence your choice. I would also like to say that I really appreciate you protecting our children and kind of piggybacking off of the guns. It's unacceptable in any way, shape, or form, and I want to thank you for sticking your neck out to protect our children. I'm also very disappointed in the goings-on of the school board. I think every child in this district deserves more
30 seconds.
than what they're getting. Any minute or cent that is spent that doesn't benefit my child or any other child's education is a waste, and that's not what we're here for. It's a public school for public education, not personal agendas. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our public comment time. We will move on to communications. Superintendent's report. Dr. Loony?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, board members. It's good to see everybody tonight. I trust that you got here safely and didn't slip and slide too much. As you know, we've had a lot of ice in our community for the last number of days. I would like to just commend our maintenance department, the county road department, and Mr. Fortney and Mr. Samuels for all of their tireless work to get our school district open again tomorrow. We will have a 1-hour delay of school tomorrow, and I just thought it would be good for me to explain that 1-hour delay because I did have a couple of people ask questions about it. The purpose of the delay tomorrow is to allow our bus drivers to begin their route after daylight breaks. There are going to be some patches here and there across the county. We have over 700 miles of roads. And so the bus drivers actually ran their routes this afternoon to try to identify any trouble spots. And they are contacting the parents of the children where the stops probably won't run tomorrow. And so we're doing everything we can to make sure the routes are as safe as possible tomorrow with a 1-hour delay. I would also add that our teachers actually came to work today. They spent about 3 hours in the school buildings getting ready for tomorrow. So I know they have some wonderful lessons planned for the boys and girls tomorrow. And I for one, am very thankful that school will be resuming tomorrow. With that being said, Mrs. Birdsong has, I don't know, 150 or so student spotlights, and so we should let her get started. Mrs. Birdsong.
It is more than 60. I will say that. We are really celebrating tonight. So sit back and relax and enjoy all of the great things that are going on in Williamson County Schools. We are going to start with 28 National Merit finalists. And we're going to start at Brentwood High School, and this is Angela Caprio. And this is Christopher Cortez. Remember Christopher's name? We're going to see him again this evening. This is Patrick Cowan. Paul, I'm so sorry, I'm going to mess up your name. Dureckwick, maybe? Okay. Sorry, Paul. Lincoln Jones, Diana Kesme, Matthew Mullinger, Rebecca Neenan, Philip Oy, Dennis Sun, and James Worsham from Brentwood High School. Now at Centennial High School, this is Timothy Couch and Catherine Dyerberger. At Fairview High School, this is James Grayson. At Franklin High School, Spencer Cox. Also at Franklin, Mary Grace Hathaway and Jeremiah Wooten. At Ravenwood High School, this is Sarah Conley, Andrew Duncan, Jean Lee, Christopher Nicastro, Charles Pitzenberger, Emma Sarapo, Adita Saith, Maximilian Team, AJ Way, and Stanley Chang from Ravenwood, and Matthew Strong from Summit. So we have 28 National Merit finalists. Yay. Now let's talk about some perfect ACT scores. Yet again, you've met Chris already, but this is Chris Cortez. And this is an interesting little story about Chris. This is his second time to get a perfect score on the ACT. You know, they make you take the writing part sometimes as well, so you got to take that whole test again. Well, that's what he did. And yes, he did it twice. So he is in the graduating class of 2015, and you met AJ already this evening as a National Merit finalist. AJ's at Ravenwood. and Stanley Chang, our 3 perfect ACTs that we are celebrating tonight. Now, this is quite interesting. We just learned about this a few weeks ago. We had 23 students who scored out of 100 across the entire state who last February in testing time on the, made a perfect TCAP writing score. We don't get to celebrate elementary students too often, so we are excited to celebrate these Perry Creek youngsters. This is Frederick Rudolph and Lillian Balk. And over at Brentwood Middle School, meet Zachary Johnston, Sophia Riles, and Faith Ship. Also Nabdul Wahid and Matthew Zadik, Brentwood Middle School. At Fairview Middle School, this is Nicholas Creech. At Sunset Middle School, this is Clara Miller and Jamie Blaylock. At Woodland Middle, this is Leanna Wood. And then at Brentwood High School, we have Hannah Oakley. At Centennial High School, we have Olivia Bailey and Mason Grove. At Franklin High School, we have Haley Ruchell, Lily Walter, Gina Swartz, and James Robinson. At Ravenwood High School, we have Elliott Forster Benson and Catherine Copeland. And we also have Reagan Homan, Natalie Hopkins, and Andrew Taylor. And again, 23 out of 100 across the state. 23 of those students are ours. Now let's talk about athletics. We have the Gatorade Girls Soccer Player of the Year for the state of Tennessee right here in Ravenwood High School, Carly Pascal, and her coach is Jose Londano. Also in athletics, we have 2 wrestlers who earned state championships. This is Tristan Rowe from Brentwood High School. His coach is Joe Blair. And Josh Philby from Franklin High School. His coach is Frank Barbary. And now let's talk about the arts. We had a number of students who are being honored in the Scholastic Art Gold Key competition. We'll start with Polly Bailey at Brentwood Middle School. Her teacher is Maggie Tucker, and she won in drawing and illustration. And this is Lisa Cute. Now, Lisa, you're going to see her 4 times. She is from Brentwood High School. Emily Martinez is her teacher. Lisa won the top honor, American Vision nominee in the fashion category, and then she won another honor in the fashion category. Then she won another honor in the sculpture category, and then she won another honor in the comic art category. She is quite the talented artist, I would say. Also, this is Laura Bowl from Independence High School. Her teacher is Stephanie Pruitt. She won in photography. And Evan Ginter, Evan Independence as well, and he won in comic art and also in art portfolio. His teacher is Andrea Howard. Phew, and last but not least, Ravenwood High School, Bahar Meska, and she won in drawing and illustration, and her art teacher is Diane Taylor. We do have one staff spotlight tonight, and that is David Adelot, Franklin High School, who was just inducted into the MTSU Band of Blue Club Hall of Fame. Congratulations are in order for all of our students and our staff member.
And board members, my final comment is just a reminder for you and for our community members. We have Let's Talk School tomorrow, and it is at the Professional Development Center. I look forward to seeing members of the public and school board members there.
What time?
It is at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. Thank you, sir.
In the morning.
That's right. Thank you, Dr. Loony.
Yes, sir.
For the board chairman's report, I'd like to first recognize any principals or teachers in the audience. We'd like to thank you for coming this evening. If you please stand and be recognized, we'd love to. Thank you very much for attending, especially given the extreme weather we had and everything else. Thank you for coming this evening. I'd also like to acknowledge that there were 2 grandbabies born to board members recently. So, Ms. Emerson, perhaps you'd like to just gloat on your grandbaby for a little bit. What's the name?
Put a time limit on her?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Gosh, thank you. My
sixth grandson, no grandgirls, sixth grandson was born on the 5th of February. Spent a week at Vanderbilt NICU and came home last Friday. And I went and stayed the whole week with them and had a great visit, not only with my daughter and her husband, but getting to know my little guy. So he's doing great. Those of you that knew about that and lifted us up, I really appreciate it. And we're so blessed. Our family's just getting bigger and better all the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Emerson. And not to take the spotlight, but I do have a grandson who was just born recently. And I think I have a prop as well. So, Becca, if you'd like to stand and show off.
Oh.
Thank you. Daniel McCall, very proud. And I guess if I'm going to get them home on time to go to school tomorrow, I better go ahead and recognize my children who are in the audience. I think they have something for me. Come on, bring it up. Let's get it over with. Thank you, Anna. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. They threatened to come and shower me with balloons and cake, and I guess they followed through. So. Thank you, children. Now go to school. Good night. Thank you. It is my birthday. That's why they brought that. Just in case anybody was wondering, it's my birthday today.
Happy birthday, sir.
Thank you. No, you don't have to do that.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear PJ. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we will be moving on to new business. Our first item is the 2014-2015 budget amendments. Item I, 2014-2015 General Purpose School Fund Resolution. It's found on page 129. Dr. Loony?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Board members, I do recommend approval of this resolution for, it looks like $19,000.
Thank you, Dr. Loony. Do we have... Thank you, Mr. Hollett. Motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Wimberly. Okay. We'll move on to discussion. Is there any discussion? Mr. Wimberly?
I would point out that this is for the Fine Arts Festival, and want to encourage everybody within the sound of my voice to attend this Fine Arts Festival. It's an incredible, incredible showcase of a wide variety of talent that we have here. Quite a tribute to the students and to their teachers, and it is just a great celebration. Melissa DeFroshu, our arts coordinator, does a great job putting it together, and I must say that the last year's event was one of the most fun and enjoyable things I did in the year. So the date for it, Dr. Loony, is?
Oh, please don't put me on the spot.
March 28th.
March 28th at the factory.
At the factory. And
it's an all-day affair.
Yes, all-day affair, great affair. Mm-hmm. So it is with enthusiasm that I'll vote in favor of this.
Thank you, Mr. Wimberly. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we will then proceed to a vote.
Your vote is 12 yes, 0 no.
Motion is approved. The next item is the intent to fund resolutions. First one is Nolensville Mill Creek Schools, found on page 131. Dr. Loony?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and board members. This is the resolution to request the remaining construction funds for the finalization of Nolensville High School, Mill Creek Elementary, and Mill Creek Middle. I would like to just remind you that there is a replacement page for 131. It's your green page. The new amount is $32,549,674. I would just like to add a couple of comments. One, we have saved the taxpayers millions of dollars with this model, and I'm really excited about trying to figure out how to use land in the most effective and efficient way possible and save taxpayer dollars. Secondly, I wanted to dispel a rumor that's out there. There is a rumor that the project is behind or being delayed and will not be open in time. That is just a rumor. We fully expect for that project to be completed on time. It's going very well. Mr. Fortney has sent you some pictures recently, and I'm really, really excited about that work. So with that being said, I do recommend your approval of this resolution.
Thank you, Dr. Looney. Do we have a motion? Mr. Anderson, motion to approve. Second by Mr. Galbraith. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote.
Your vote is 12 yes, 0 no.
Motion is approved. The next item is intent to fund resolution for auditoriums, and that is found on page 132.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Looney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and board members. You're days away from the grand opening of Brentwood High School's theater, and as you know, we have been able to secure funding for a number of theater projects from across the county, or for across the county, and we have a few more to go to finish that phase of the board's work. And this funding, $10.1 million, would allow us to build a theater and revitalize the multi-purpose room at Fairview High School. And we would also build the theater for Page and Heritage Middle Schools. Recommend your approval.
Thank you, Dr. Looney. Do we have a motion from the floor? Motion by Mr. Peterson, second by Mr. Cash. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we'll move to a vote.
Your vote is 12 yes, 0 no.
Motion is approved. Next item of business is the intent to fund for Brentwood land, and that's page 133. Dr. Looney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and board members. I really think at some point in time how we request this money. It seems odd that we state how much money we have in the budget prior to negotiating on land. It kind of lets the landowner know where we are budget-wise. Having said that, I certainly agree with the gentleman's comments, the public comment today, that we need to be thinking outside of the box about land acquisition, and we're doing precisely that. You're going to be having some discussions in the near future about what type of facility, what grade spans that facility would most appropriately serve. But at the end of the day, we need to be working on finding land and securing land. And so this is a request to fund up to $6 million. It would need county commission approval, and that would give us permission to go out and begin negotiating with landowners for a potential piece of property. You obviously would approve the property that we purchase, and you would also approve the nomenclature of the school that we would ultimately build, or whatever we were to do on that property. So this is a beginning point. I do recommend your approval.
Thank you, Dr. Looney. Do we have a motion? Motion by Mr. Hollett, second by Dr. Burgos. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we can move to a vote. There you go.
Your vote is 12 yes, 0 no.
Motion is approved. Next item of business is intent to fund resolution for asphalt and roofing. I believe there's a revised resolution before you, and Dr. Looney.
Yes, there's a revised resolution. It's a green sheet labeled page number 134 for a total request of $2,310,000. I will just add the inclement weather that we've had has really stressed some of our roofs. We've had at least three leaking roof systems in our middle schools over the course of the weekend. Mr. Samuels and his roof crews did a great job of getting them up to speed. And as you know, ice is not particularly friendly on asphalt, and so we have a number of large potholes that we're dealing with. This will give us some beginning money, not only to do those projects, but other projects that are in need of attention. I do recommend your approval.
Thank you, Dr. Looney. Is there a motion from the floor? Motion approved by Ms. Emerson. Second by Mr. Gregory. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we can move to a vote.
Your vote is 12 yes, 0 no.
Motion is approved. Next item of business is the state compliance report that is found on page 135. Dr. Looney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Board members, I do recommend approval of this report. I think it's important for you to know that this is 3 months behind schedule, and we received notification from the department that we need to turn it in. So I do recommend your approval.
Thank you, Dr. Looney. Do we have a motion from the floor? Motion by Mr. Peterson, second by Mr. Hullett. Is there any discussion? Yeah. Ms. Emerson?
Yes, I just wondered, have we heard from the AG, the Attorney General, on the compliance of some of the textbooks that we are presently using? I think that was the concern about signing this. Is that?
I'll speak to that, and then Jason might be able to add something. The answer is no. Our district hasn't heard back from the AG on that. I think they would give notice to the state, not us. What this report does is essentially a statement saying that as far as we know, we're in compliance with all rules and regulations by the state.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Emerson. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, we can move to a vote.
Your vote is 11 yes, 1 abstain.
Motion is approved. That concludes the new business before the board. Before we adjourn, is there any discussion by board members that they'd like to present? Any information? Dr. Burgos?
I would just like to thank Franklin High School for their tour that they offered to us. It was very informative, very wonderful. I'm looking forward to working with the Franklin High School community and how we can help with their athletic requests.
Thank you, Dr. Burgos. Anybody else? Last chance. Thank you very much. We call this meeting adjourned. Yes. I know.